The idea around today's roundtable was obviously to understand what FinTechs were doing in the cloud space and how we can learn to better serve them from our point of view. What's really going to shape the conversation going forward is maybe adjusting the messaging because we've put the effort in. The other side is how do we get to those big new offerings that the FinTechs want to do.
Specifically, financial services need FinTechs. I think they're more nimble in their approach around how they solve issues. If you think about it, a lot of the FinTechs that were available here today, like Pineapple as an example, already, you can't even ask them about their digital journey because they are a digital business. They set themselves up that way. Versus your bigger corporates who still have legacy issues, I think there's a lot to learn from each other. I walk away with a lot of insights. I think what I took out from today's conversation was that a lot of the partners and providers that are servicing us are actually listening to our requirements.
Cloud is not just topical, cloud is practical. Cost is a big driving factor. If you're not compliant, if you don't have the security environments in place, if you don't have the PCI certification things, you simply cannot function. The takeaway for me is we're not alone in this. Regardless if you're in a bank or in a FinTech, different thinking specifically on the customer service side. I think that was great. Just to hear the ethos in terms of the teams they set up, not just being a salesperson, but also having an architect involved and an engineer that will actually be responsible for the delivery, which is quite a unique take, something that I think has been missing in other areas where you generally just get a website and sign up and find your own way. And then the opportunities it creates, just to bring the community a bit closer and see how we can enable each other.
How can they be sure when choosing a hyperscaler that they won't be locked in or run up exorbitant costs? To really understand what it is that you're getting into and how best to go about it. Education was something that stood out because all the concerns that were raised can be addressed and solved by educating the customers.
Everyone is talking about backup. You need to have backup. And I'm asking myself, I thought everything is digital, but we are cloud. So maybe that means that I need to still bring some of the cloud partners to still have them as backup. We need to be aware of it. And it's good to be in that table because big corporations are going through it.
We're fortunate enough to kind of have had the opportunity to start on newer technologies as opposed to traditional banks. We've been here for 180 plus years. We have to go through things like migrations, etc. So it was kind of nice to learn. There's a lot of human intricacies that also play into these things, not just specifically the technology around itself, also the compliance thereof, making sure that if you're doing something now in 2023, is it legal, is it compliant, are you not breaking any laws? The other thing as well is how much cloud is being invested in on the African continent and what does that also mean for regional expansion, and especially if you compare how things are now to where they were maybe 5-6 years ago in terms of Africa specifically, how things have kind of changed over there, which then gives you that optimism of how things will look 5-6 years from now.
Finance institute is always big, and most of them they have hybrid cloud strategy. We are the only OEM or provider can both provide you the private cloud and also the public cloud. The Huawei, we have this capability to have the full stack cloud. If they want to put this sensitive data in their own data center, it's okay, they can do that. And if they want to push some data to the public cloud, it's also okay. If you use both Huawei's technology, it's easier for the interface and the communication between these two. So it's a critical thing. I think today's discussion is very insightful for us because we can know the actual problems they are facing daily to enable us to think about how to ensure our capabilities can be beneficial to our customers, to add value to their business. We have the capability, but we need the local input. I call it localization. We must do the localization. You can't just copy and paste. I think later we will run more and more round tables, not only in FinTech, maybe in different verticals. We have like 20 people to discuss, and this is very, very helpful. I think it's helpful.